like computerized.
They literally never tell bands about the fucking elevator. That's why I'm just like, tell people, because then you're just carrying your gear up these stairs, and it's like, I hate that.
I think by the time the next day in the morning,
right?
Because we did a classic like leave the gear overnight, annoying the venue owner.
Yeah, sometimes.
There was an elevator. There was an elevator, guys. I remember.
I don't forget anything, David. Never question me.
I'm not going to.
That's amazing.
Oh, your background is so nice.
Mine or
yeah. Ruben's is good too.
Huge pink jug of water.
Mine's like chaos.
Are you drinking pink lemonade or what?
No, it's a gallon of water.
Oh yeah, nice.
It just looks like pink lemonade. That'd be insane.
I admire your dedication to hydration.
I like forget 23 hours of the day, and then I do these podcasts. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm running out of like liquids. I'm drying up as I'm talking. Like it happens all the time. So I'm constantly drinking, thirsty? And then like you can just hear it in the audio, which bothers me in post, and then I'm just like trying to chop it out, but then I don't know. It's a struggle, I guess. Yeah. But Tops, you guys are you guys are here. Thank you. We are recording. We are live. Thank you for being on the podcast. How are you guys?
Of course. I have this microphone, but I'm not sorry to go like this is very unpodcasty, but do you want me to try to set this up?
No, it's fine. You sound good.
You have a good connect? Okay.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Okay, cool. We can start again if you want.
No, it's okay. So let's just get into it. Yesterday was the Super Bowl. Do you guys care? Did you watch? What's your relationship with that game?
I love music.
There you go.
I'm a halftime hero.
Yeah, did you watch the halftime performance of The Weeknd?
Yeah, not live, which I feel like I feel like normally I would watch it live, but I watched it today, and it was pretty interesting.
It was pretty interesting.
So many hits. Wow.
I didn't realize it, and this is actually the first time I've ever seen him play, and it made me kind of sad because it made me just like miss concerts in like as a whole. I was like, oh, it really hit me that I personally haven't played since New Year's Eve of 2019. Like, when was your last show?
Not far after that. It was in March last year. March, I don't know, 18th, 15th, around.
Were you on tour? Or?
Yeah, we were 3 days into a tour. And we were in Germany. We had to fly home.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah, we were opening for this other band, and we were playing arenas, which is like a crazy new, different thing that we've never done. So there were like 10,000 German people watching us play every night.
They're all there for another band.
All there for Tops, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
But it was pretty surreal to go from like just these massive crowds and having that be completely overwhelming to being like racing out of the continent because Trump enforced the travel ban.
Right.
And so like all of the shows got it was like this cascading effect of like the shows getting canceled. And then we were just kind of sitting in a hotel trying to like figure out what we were going to do. We were just going to kind of chill. Right. For a few days. And then all of a sudden we were like racing to the airport in the middle of the night. It was pretty like, nice little adventure that we went on.
Right. That hotel, I still have nightmares about the elevator.
What was up with the elevator?
Before we were leaving, it was like an 8-story building, and the elevator was like could fit like maybe 3 people in it, and all of them were broken except for one in the building. We had all this gear, and it took like 2 hours to get in the elevator and go downstairs or back upstairs.
Oh my god!
I mean, I took the stairs too. I think about that elevator all the time.
I also think about it. I remember.
Who are you opening for? Can we say? I guess we could say the show's happening.
Yeah, it's actually a huge secret. It's a band. They're called Anne May Cantorite.
Cool.
You can say it in a German accent. I don't know.
Right.
But they asked us to open up for them.
What were the main differences?
Apparently
Like,
they heard us in Starbucks, and then they were
oh,
like,
really?
we want them.
Yeah, this is true.
What was kind of some of the main differences? I know this is your first arena shows, and I feel like you guys have now seen like every level of like house show, probably bar show, 300 cap room. Like, where are some of these big differences, these big jumps for when you get to an arena? I've never even stepped foot in the fucking arena before.
I mean, I feel like the most surreal thing about it is that it feels less like you have an audience in front of you than any other format, because like we were using in-ears, which I've never used, because there's pretty much, it's like impossible to hear your vocals any other way with the echo. And there's just so many, like the more people that you have in front of you, they kind of turn into like tiny ants.
Wow.
And it's like, you can sort of pick people out of the crowd, but like personally, I find like a house show, or like especially a show where I have like a bunch of friends watching, if there's like 50 people, that's like far more nerve-wracking, because you're really like making contact with everybody that's there, and you're like really can feel what other people are feeling a lot more.
Right.
So, but I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think the worst is if you know somebody that's in the audience.
Yeah, basically. Nightmare when your friends come to the show. No.
Yeah, totally.
It's nice after the show.
Yeah.
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 It's always nice
I was
after
just
the show.
joking.
You take some of the compliments, and then you're like, let's go to the bar.
Another thing that was very awkward, which I think I did quite a poor job of, is banter to like many people who have no idea who you are and don't actually necessarily speak English or have any interest in understanding what you're saying.
Right.
I feel like I would take actually longer to say stuff in between songs because I would get caught up and not know what I was doing. And yeah, that was the tough part of it, but yeah.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I feel like there's just so much to learn about. I don't know. Was that aspirational? Is that something you guys ever see Tops doing, becoming an arena band, or?
I feel like it's like not something we ever see Tops doing. And I know like Riley, our drummer, it was like a big dream for him. Something he's talked about a lot, like how fun it would be and the experience of doing something like that. So I feel like that was kind of why we said yes. Like a big part of saying yes was just like, get it while you can.
Yeah, like
experience wise.
Who knows when you'll be back there? You know, it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can't even wrap my head around the idea, to be perfectly honest. And the idea of banter, talking in between songs, like I guess, yeah, especially to a non-English speaking audience, like that's, I don't know. And what do you think? I'm blown away by the idea right now. My head's just blown away. As far as like on the guitar work, and was it easy to hear yourself? Or I guess it was all in the in-ear monitor. Do you guys use those normally? Is that something new also to you guys?
I feel like I've played the song so much that I can't mess up. I mean, I can. Everybody is if they were here, they'd be side-eyeing me in the band, but that's how I personally feel.
Are you two the ones who mainly write the songs?
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Jane's number one, I'm number two, and then it goes down from there.
Right.
Depending on who's there when we're doing it, but we're usually the ones that are guiding the ship.
Right. And so what's the process been like in 2020 during the quarantine in 2021? Are you guys finding time to stay creative and send each other songs, or through email, or?
Well, we ended up kind of all in the same Montreal place originally, after our like escape from Europe situation. Except for our drummer. So Marta and David and I, we just started like meeting up at David's house. We kind of formed like a bubble, because like Montreal has been pretty restricted and had kind of like a hard, medium to difficult time with the virus. So we kind of just like formed our little bubble, and we're working on songs all the time. And then we got quite a few done, and now we're just like still trying to finish them. And we got Riley to drum remotely. So I think probably we're going to finish the entire album or whatever collection of songs without ever playing them in the same room as Riley. So it's very, very experimental in that way.
Well, that's nice. Because I feel like I've talked to a lot of bands over the last year doing this podcast, and like nobody feels motivated to write. So I guess being in the same room is beneficial in that way, that you guys can just bounce ideas off, because it's like, you know, what's there to write about right now, especially if you're not doing anything. Do you feel that way, or do you feel like being in the same room together has helped you guys?
I mean, when we were in the same room, it was fun. There was nothing else to do.
Right.
There's not a lot of like chances to go out and like completely like fuck up your life or be involved in some drama that you can write songs about. But you have some songs about wanting to go and do that.
Yeah.
I do feel like there's a bit of like it's like there's always the risk like that you're going to write pandemic themed material, and then you have to kind of question like what's the relevance of this beyond this particular moment. But on the other hand, like, you know, it's quite historic. So it's not like is it going to be really such a bad thing if like later on down the line, it's like, oh yeah, we wrote those songs during this global pandemic. Like,
you're like,
maybe
I'm so embarrassed that I felt like depressed at some point during that.
I should have never had any creative impulses during this time.
No, I think it's totally
it was pretty easy. It was pretty fun, actually. I definitely struggle, man. Like at this point, I have definitely gone through some of that like lack of inspiration for sure.
Right.
And I think I took like the biggest break from making music that I've ever taken. Like in the fall when I got back to Berlin, I took like 3 or 4 months completely off, which was pretty like cool that I got the opportunity to do that in a way. But
yeah, I was gonna
David just doesn't take a break.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, was it like refreshing? Like I kind of felt like the first months of quarantine, like March, April, May, kind of felt like, oh, this is kind of like, oh, I don't have to, you know, worry about my career, I guess, or worry about the next show or the next tour. Like I can just hang out with my girlfriend and be satisfied, I guess, like with life. I don't know. But then it wore off really quickly. But did you guys feel that at all?
David? Oh, my turn.
either of you.
Sorry, you were taking a sip of the coffee.
Like I had too much in there.
Mm-hmm. You have too much to express. I mean, like, definitely having a long time at home, which is just kind of like a rare thing. And then, like that's been nice. But I guess because like the whole thing started, we basically like at the same time that we were putting out our record. So kind of felt more like crisis management, or like just trying to shift how we were doing everything. And I feel like during that time there's like this wave of kind of like expectations for musicians, and kind of this like weird seize the moment like video, like everyone was doing shows and stuff. There was that initial energy, and then at some point it did all kind of like, once we got over that feeling of like, this is my record that we put tons of work into, like we need to promote it, we need to do everything that we can. It was honestly very, very nice to just like focus on making music and kind of hanging out. Like
I think I've enjoyed it.
I think you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I'm still enjoying it. Like we still have like a quarantine here, and the city has a curfew at 8 p.m.
Right.
Maybe it moved to 9:30 because it's February now, or today it moved to 9:30. But like, I've been making music pretty much every day.
Right.
And I can make a lot of noise in my apartment. So it's like kind of, I'm really like exercising my like loner energy to the max.
Yeah.
Which is I've assumed my true form. And I don't know what's going to happen when
you're forced to leave the house for social reasons again.
Yeah. I was with my friends last night. We were thinking about how easy it is to snub people now. Like, not that you're supposed. I don't snub anyone.
It's the ultimate excuse not to do anything.
I know, but like, the first time I go out, you're gonna be like, you have that thing where you're like, oh my god, So you have to talk to me.
It's true. I'm not ready for it, man.
Yeah, I guess there's like a weird safety that's like escapism and safety at home, which is kind of cool.
Right.
Less judgment, perceived judgment from others. Nobody cares what I'm doing when I'm out or when I'm here. But
right.
I think they do.
So with some of the
I've
stuff
definitely lost.
Oh no, go ahead, Jane.
I was just gonna say I've definitely lost any impulse that I ever had, which I didn't have. I had a pretty weak impulse to begin with, but I've lost any impulse at all to like share any part of myself publicly online.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of like a necessary, or like that is like an aspect of like making music and doing your own thing. So it's so easy to just be in reality and not really be on the net, which has been really cool.
I definitely have experienced social media exhaustion. Like I was going pretty hard this year with like the podcast and just trying to stay busy because you guys are one of those bands, and there's a few handful of other bands that I really admired because I still think in my mind that so many bands like dropped out in 2020. But I like that you guys released a record, Video Age released a record. There's still music to be made, like, and to come out. And I hope that history looks back on people will look back and be like, okay, these bands were still active and still did their thing in 2020 and didn't just like bow out. And I'll see you guys when things get better, still creating.
Yeah. But I think that's maybe a bit of we're lucky because we're just somewhat established. I don't know if a lot of bands wanted to drop out, but when you get this type of situation where you can't do anything or make money, and you're like, I have to literally stay at home and like I can't afford my jam space anymore or whatever.
Right.
I think a lot of people just were like, I guess I can't do it the way I was before. And I feel like maybe that was pretty depressing too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I also like your take on it where we're the cool ones sticking it out.
Absolutely the cool ones. Like, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, like, at the end of the day, it's still important to try and create something. And I don't know. But then again, I think it's also easy for me to say because I had an album in the can. And when it's ready to come out, it just comes out. Was there any thought of pushing your album out to 2021? Or you're like, oh, let's just release it?
I feel like the wheels were already in motion.
Mm-hmm. Right. Kat was definitely half out of the bag already on that one.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, anytime you put out a record, every time I've ever put out anything, somebody's like, this is a bad time to put out a record. Like,
it's never a perfect time.
Like so-and-so superstar is putting out a record on this Friday. And then then it's the Super Bowl or like, I don't know, like the election or Christmas or, never dropping an album on Valentine's Day, super bad. But like, so I think just when it's ready to go, just should happen.
Right. That's amazing. And you guys have also been a band for like a long time. I think that's also another thing I admire. I love bands that are just grinding for a while. Like, your first project is, 2012. Did you guys have anything before that we don't know about? Are there any EPs before 2012 or just?
There's some stuff before that you don't know about.
Okay, good.
I'll leave it at that.
I have this really good. There's this really good trick that you can use when you want to hide your musical past. Is that you just change the members slightly or not at all, but then you change the name and bada bing, bada bang.
It's gone.
No one's got any clue about that other stuff.
I put a record out in 2012 as a solo project thing.
Right.
That's true.
And then I followed it up 8 years later. So
nice. There you go.
Pretty prolific over here.
Yeah, that's true.
So it sounds like you do work a lot by yourself in your house, David. Like, how much are they songs? Are they just riffs? Are they loops? Like, and how much of that ends up being in the top song?
A lot of it ends up being in tops, but it changes.
Right.
But I have a project with my partner called Born at Midnight. So we've been like this year been making tracks all the time. And then also Marta, who plays in our band, we recorded a record over this year too.
Cool.
So that's kept me pretty busy, and I'm trying to make another of my own. So just a few piles that I'm smacking down.
Right.
Yeah.
When,
usually if it's a cool guitar riff, I'm like, this is tops, because that's what I do in the band.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because I like to play bass and keyboard and just write however. So
that's awesome.
I'm like, if it's a guitar thing, I'm like, that's gonna be for that next time we see each other.
Right. And what about you, Jane? Do you have other projects? How much extra do you write for a project? Are there more songs we haven't heard yet that will come out later? Like, what's your way of working?
Yeah, I started working on, I've always kind of done a little bit of my own thing, but I started working on kind of like solo music a year or two ago. I'm not like a super prolific songwriter, but I've been really into like doing stuff on the computer and getting into like MIDI. So just kind of building like songs in completion, because I feel like something that's been really great about Tops is that I get to like play with I get to write with like a really good drummer and a really good guitar player, and David also is like a real songwriter and has a lot of good sensibilities in that way. So kind of like challenging myself to learn all of these things that I've neglected, like rhythm and bass lines and stuff, and learning that. It's been fun. But yeah, I mostly do stuff on my computer with a MIDI controller because I don't have like a huge setup or anything, but definitely working on some stuff. What's this?
The wind controller.
How could I forget? Yes. Okay, so I also have an electronic wind instrument. Yui, that I actually got when we were doing a score. We got like this gig to do a score for a film, like a live score.
Right.
And yeah, it's kind of like, looks like a soprano saxophone or like a clarinet.
Whoa.
And it picks up your like breath and tonguing and like there's all these different little things you can do with it, and basically allows me to play synth like how I would play flute.
Whoa.
So it combines my two instrumental loves, basically.
Yeah. When did you pick up flute? I'd noticed a lot more flute on this new record.
Yeah, so that's actually how I got into music originally when I was like 11 or 12, just like through band and stuff. And then I kind of like really ran with it and got really into classical. I was really into classical music in high school. And then I got kind of disenchanted with the whole like that institutional way of doing things.
Right.
And went to Montreal to try to like learn about some other stuff. And then David asked me to sing on a song. And then I kind of like rediscovered music at that point.
Is that kind of how the band started then? David, you asked her to sing on the song?
Yeah, me and my friend Sean, we had a little project, and it was kind of like fake 80s like karaoke, and we were using AutoTune ironically, and we thought that was really edgy at the time. That sounds super sketchy and not great. And no offense to anybody who sang. I also sang some bad stuff, but yeah, we were like we should have Jane sing because she's our friend, and that seemed to make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the very first time I ever sang at all was recorded at Released.
Yeah.
Which is maybe partly why we're being so hush-hush about those earlier.
And now they have a different name and they're hidden somewhere on the internet. Like,
yeah.
I'll send you some songs after.
Yeah, I'm down, man.
James,
absolutely.
like no.
No.
No, yeah, I feel good about that. Okay, so then that's how the band started. What year was this? Are we talking? I'm hearing AutoTune, so I'm thinking 2009, 2010. Am I
got
right?
it.
Yeah. That was the time.
Yeah, that was the time for sure. I was like, it was like I'd reinstall the OS on my computer so that I could get the demo again.
Right.
Because the demo for Antares lasted 7 days at the time, I think. And I was like, I needed to use it 2 times because we were like doing it pretty fast, I guess.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I have to reinstall everything. Yeah, it was around then.
Yeah, those are the days, man. We used to illegally download this audio program called Cool Edit Pro in my high school band, and we just like LimeWired a licensed version of it.
Okay, that was the first DAW I used, but Fruity Loops studio demo where you couldn't even realize that you could save music on it.
Yeah.
If I had like cracked the demo or something, it just didn't occur to me. So it'd just be like, it was a shared computer in my family's kitchen.
Of course, yeah.
Really bad, like electronic music, what I thought was electronic, but I listened to like hardcore and Korn and metal stuff. So it was really horrible stuff.
Yeah.
But what I thought was like beats. And they'd be like playing in my kitchen and my family would be there for like days until I was like, the song's done. And then you could output like a low res MP3.
I love it, man. Yeah, that's a very similar situation that I had.
And Cool Edit Pro is sweet. It's like Pro Tools, but like with even less options. Where it's like, just...
and then we didn't have an interface. We just plugged it into like those converters, those headphone jack converters that have the yeah.
Oh yes, that's so sweet.
That's very end of the 2000s, man. Kids don't know. You get a new Mac and it has GarageBand and it works awesome and it has all these different great sounds, and I don't know. It was a struggle back then. I don't know.
Yeah,
I like it.
There's that bass on GarageBand that sounds so good.
Yeah,
Adam was talking about it's the Liverpool bass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm like
I used that.
No, I know Adam told me about it, and then I told my other friend about it, and everyone's like Liverpool bass, super good.
Yeah, they have it in Logic.
Yes.
I like how they've rebranded Fruity Loops as FL Studios.
I love a good rebrand. Have you? I don't know if you guys.
You can't see it. Right?
Oh dang.
Wait.
Oh, your comp.
I just got my new computer. Wait,
what?
It's not.
Yeah. Where'd you find that?
It weighs about as much as about, I'd say, like 12 beers.
Yeah, 12-pack. Yeah.
And somebody on just like Facebook Marketplace, but she said that I needed 2 people to carry it. So I bothered my friend to drive to their house, which wasn't even far from mine.
Right.
To go pick it up. And I was like, this is really small.
That's hilarious. Jane, so you said you've been using Fruity Loops? Or what DAW have you been using to make these MIDI recordings?
I use Logic. I've used most of them. Like we use Pro Tools for our recordings, but I like Logic. I feel like it's pretty intuitive, and it's kind of like doesn't get in the way of what, there's no barrier to entry or whatever. So that's kind of my choice for now. And yeah, it's actually got everything. Like now that they have this like drum sampler designer, drum kit designer thing, and you can kind of just drop, like the new version has basically anything anyone could possibly need, awesome. In my opinion. So
does it have the personality drummers as well?
Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah, it's got
I
that.
personally love those.
It also has something that Pro Tools is really missing, in my opinion, which is the quantize feature.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta
I lean on
Apple tab, Apple E, right? Apple tab, Apple E, right? Left. Fast. I like doing it the Cool Edit Pro style.
Yeah. Man, yeah, the quantizing.
I want to get when you guys in studios, they have these like huge gamer mouses that are like
I've seen those.
I'm like, what are they? What's up? What's that?
Dude,
How do I
just
get that?
moving. Yeah, that's like the most impressive part. Like I started video editing last year and just like learning the shortcuts. I'm like, oh yeah, if anyone saw me right now, they'd be like super impressed, but it's like nothing. It's just learning the fucking shortcuts.
Yeah.
So it looks more impressive than it actually is.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
was-
you're just moving your hand really lightly.
Yeah. Control M. That's how you export. Now that looks cool.
I know. It's like I had this really intricate trick that I figured out on a tech deck when I was a kid. And
Right.
I was really not impressed, but I was like, I'm like, that took so long to learn. He's like, it doesn't look like anything.
It's all about the perception. You know? Yeah, I love it. So you guys talked about score. Can we talk about that score? Like, it was a live score, so the movie was playing, and while you were also playing live, or what was that like?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was that like?
Well, we like basically all came to Toronto. It was for this like Hot Docs. It's a film festival, and it was this movie was called Endless Summer. It's a surf movie, so it's basically just like
Oh yeah, I know them. Yeah,
it's like very beautiful footage of just people surfing from like the 60s, late 60s, early 70s.
people in Santa Barbara have built their whole personalities around that movie. By the way, it is fucking everywhere. But go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Oh no, not at all. We basically, I mean, trying to think of anything that's like of note. We basically came up with the entire thing in like a week because we hadn't been living in the same cities, and we also aren't generally like a jammy band.
Yeah,
we don't really
totally.
I feel like that's almost something that we avoid doing is like going into like some kind of jammy zone without any kind of like intention behind it or whatever. But we just basically had to force it. So that's, I mean, the UE really helped. And then we would just like, as soon as we would do anything that like resembled a song, we'd be like, okay, that's a song. And like, what is that called? Okay.
Right.
That's what it's called. Like the big chase. Okay. So we're going to do the big chase for like, and then the whole like a challenge became, how can we actually fill like this 2 hours of time? And
Right.
we would just like, we played just for much longer, each of these parts much longer than probably anyone would, really desire. But at the end, I feel like people liked it. So I guess that's kind of like the whole point of these things, is that it's a little bit like thrown together and a little bit like the tension and like the excitement kind of comes from watching the musician like
Right.
struggle through. Like there's a little bit of like drama in that, and like
Yeah.
like it was like fun, like because everyone was sitting down in the theater and stuff, and like we had a few friends, and it definitely felt like very, very much like in tune with everyone, and like we really shared something because of the anxiety and like just sort of like of the momentness of it was really nice.
Yeah, that's like a muscle I think I've lost completely. Like I never jam anymore. But like when I was younger, when I was like 14 with my high school band, that's all we did.
What was your high school band called?
Tigers in the City. It was me and my cousins. It was like all my cousins. It was like a family band.
Tigers in the City?
Yeah.
Yo, that sounds dangerous, man. I love it.
It was like reggae, but like we were obsessed with the Mars Volta, so we tried to be progressive at the same time. It was crazy. This is 2004 to 2008-ish. Very of the time.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
I want to. Family bands are sweet.
Yeah, it's like, there's no one ever leaves the family band. It's like, how do you kick out your relative? Or, it's just like, you just kind of like roll with it. Cause I was definitely one of the worst players. Like I messed up. I was on drums and I just messed up every show. I think I had been playing drums for like 2 years and I just messed up every show, but they just had to like go with it and like keep giving me tips. I was also 14 years old, Like,
Because you're family, man.
yeah. It's like, you just got to like, but I learned a lot. Like we never toured or we didn't play in front of people very often, but like, you still learn a lot, I guess, I don't know. Even though I don't play drums in a band anymore, but like still learn a lot. But we can go back to you guys. We never finished about the flute. We got kind of off topic, but like, how did flute start getting into tops?
Yeah, so I guess when we first started the band, I really wanted to play synth and I was singing, so I felt like kind of didn't really want to be like doing too many different things
right
at once, because I felt like it just felt like it would be maybe like a little like show-offy or like complicated. I don't know. Just didn't strike me as like a cool thing to be doing at the time. And then when Marta joined the band, it was the first time we had like a keyboard player. And I was kind of freed up, and that's when it made sense, because it's like a nice way to still play and have like an instrumental kind of thing, way of like being a part of things without but I still get to do my like stickman kind of performer thing, which I guess was a dream of mine.
That feeling of like when you're just the lead singer, like, what do I do with my hands? Like, I'm singing and I'm just standing here. I definitely revert to like this windmill arm kind of like child dancing at a daytime like show outside. Yeah. Totally. I get it. And it's like you don't see the flute incorporated very often, and like
really funny.
I feel like it really separates your band from the rest of the other bands in the world, I guess. I don't know.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, what was shocking to me is maybe because I just like put it on the ground, because I just never have like a stand for it. I always like lose the stand.
Yeah.
I would just put it really close to Riley's kick drum. So maybe it was the kind of like surprise factor, but I was really shocked, like when I first started playing it, that people would like flip out like I was playing like a ripping guitar solo or something. So that was a really like satisfying, as somebody that kind of felt like it was a pretty nerdy thing to be doing. But people have definitely embraced it, which is nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like Brussels sprouts. It's made like this like turnaround until we all love it now. Where 15 years ago we may have made fun of it. Yeah, it's like flute and Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, they're good. Brussels sprouts were an instrument, they'd be like tuba. I don't just like something more vocalist.
The French horn.
The French horn.
Oh shit! French horn's hard to play. The like mouthpiece is so small.
Oh.
You really have to pucker up.
So I guess like flute and saxophone are pretty close. Have you tried playing sax in the band, or have you played saxophone in the band?
The wind controller is the closest that I've gotten. But no, if I had my hands on like a saxophone, it would be fun to try it. I feel like I was very much wanting to be in the jazz ensemble in high school.
Right.
And they would not allow a flute player. So my band teacher at the time, gave me a tenor saxophone to take home. But it sounded so bad. And I feel like that kind of instrument, like the reed family, it's like your tone is so horrible until you like really put in some time. And I think that kind of like put me off, because I can have like a bit of a tendency to like, if I don't get like instant gratification from something, I get totally disinterested in it. I only like doing things that I like enjoy, and then I really enjoy it. But like, yeah, so unfortunately that would kind of like turn me away from that. But yeah, I mean, I need to get a space where it can be very, very loud, and then a saxophone, and I would be willing to put in the time, but I doubt that I would emerge able to play anything that I would use. Right. But it could be fun to do.
Yeah. I just know that they're similar hand placements. I don't know really a lot about that, but I've had saxophone players tell me that they're very similar. And the guy who fills in for my band, he'll bring both, just kind of.
Yeah, I think once you're a saxophone player, you can pick up the flute, and it's pretty like
Right.
pretty straightforward. But yeah, I do love sax. I'd really like to get some saxophone on our recordings.
Go ahead, David.
No, I was just saying that it seems like the key would be to learn on sax, because then you get flute in the bag.
Right.
Like a bonus instrument.
When I posted about you guys coming on the podcast, a lot of people talked. I had a few comments just talk about Martha and how cool she is. Like, a lot of people did. They're a big fan of her. Like,
they said she's cool.
They said she's cool. You guys see her stage presence. I've seen her stage presence. I thought you guys were fucking awesome. Like, but adding her to the band, like you said, made it easier for you to pick up the flute. But like, what other advances is having a new member and yeah, can you talk about that a little bit? Adding her to the band.
I mean, it's just, yeah, you go ahead, David, and then I'll...
How'd you find her? We can start there. How did you know her before?
David found Marta.
I didn't find Marta.
Oh, you didn't? She found us.
No. Actually, Jackson and Riley, we played a show with another band that she was in, and in Toronto. And I remember Jackson and Riley were having a combo with her backstage, and they're like, she's cool.
Nice.
Just like
what people are saying. Yeah.
They said the same thing, cool. And which is a great compliment. I never get that one. And then I was in Toronto at the time, so we met because we were just like, let's get a keyboard player. And I went for coffee with her. I had 2 coffees, and there was cinnamon, and she had 1. And she brought me like a little fluffy little bracelet thing. I don't have it anymore.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's the origin story of Marta.
There you go. Yeah,
You're like not satisfied by that answer.
No, I'm very satisfied. Like, I think it's true. I think cool is like a great compliment, especially if you're looking for a new band member, and it's more than just having someone in the band. It's like the touring, and it's like they really become one of your friends. And if someone's cool, then yeah, I'll take it. Because I've had lots of people in my band who were not cool, like, and they got weird, and then now I have new drummers and new this, and it's like, yeah, it's just such a pain.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But
Marta's definitely the coolest and like the most fun person to be around.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's very musical too, which is the most important thing.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd say it goes 50-50 cool musical in terms of wanting to work with someone, but like not too stubborn, but also pushes her own vision. Cool.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Like, I feel like it's made our whole process of working on music like a lot more efficient, just like that we can each focus on kind of one thing for the most part. And then, but beyond that, like also just expanded it a lot. Like, she syncs up with like, I think having the attention to like focus on keyboard, it's like we actually have kind of like a keys player.
Yeah.
And I think that there's like a lot of cool like rhythmic lining up with like the drums and the bass and stuff that can happen when you have somebody that's like unhooked from like the melody.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but yeah, Marta's the best.
Yeah, a lot of the keyboard before was like had like a different purpose. It was like would like fill in the space and kind of like the melodies more, but now it's more of like a rhythm section, traditional.
Right. And what about your drummer? Has it been? He's very tight. Like, has he been the same drummer the whole time?
Yeah, he's such a good drummer.
And was he a friend of yours before, or?
Yeah, I don't remember super meeting him, but he shared a jam space with us, and he was practicing every day.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
That he'd practice rudiments, and somebody called the cops on him from another part of the building.
They're tired of the paradiddles. No more paradiddles.
That's in my head. I don't know if that actually happened.
You're correct. It was an accountant.
Oh.
That was like, I guess for some reason working in this like building that had like a bunch of jam spaces, but they literally lost their mind and called the cops on Riley because he would like practice his kick drum patterns for like 2 hours straight.
That's amazing. But
yeah, I met Riley at a vegan food food kitchen. I was gonna say, what's it like a kitchen?
What's it called when you put stuff in your mouth?
Yeah, restaurant.
No, like a kitchen when you're making tons of food for people and you're giving it away. Soup kitchen.
So a soup kitchen. Yeah.
One of those food kitchens. It was like in the school that we were both going to. We would make like, anyway, I met him there, and yeah, he's just like a very like specific and like determined and like sensitive and nice person. And he has like a really strong opinions about drumming.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I feel like he's like one of the least like intrusive drummers.
Totally.
Like a lot of the he just like lacks a lot of the kind of like spotlight seeking of that I guess drummers can be infamous for. So he's been like really good for me as a singer, because I don't always sing. Like I like to sing really quiet sometimes and stuff. And like I think generally just like I don't think our band would have the kind of like sophistication that we attempt to have without him.
That's amazing.
We're going for. Yeah, but I've been playing drums and completely I think I just copy his style.
Yeah, that happens. That definitely happens. Like, yeah. I completely agree. Oh man, I was just gonna ask a question, and I just like, oh yeah, okay, you guys can call me crazy here, and you're allowed to call me crazy, but I feel like from this new record and the previous records, there's a difference. When writing it, did you feel like there's a difference, or what is that difference I'm looking for? Or maybe it's in my head. Do you feel a difference with this record and the previous ones?
What do you think, David?
I was pointing at you.
Oh, you're pointing at me. I think we kind of like came at it in a pretty like more of a direct way. Like the previous to that, we were spending hours and hours kind of like jamming and playing together, but then we kind of found ourselves in the situation of not being in the same city. And so like when we had time to do it, I think it was kind of like, okay, let's get to business and like really get this done. And that kind of like just going at it really directly, I think it ended up kind of coming out a little bit more, just like it has a bit more energy and like force to it, I think. Yeah, we also had this like shameless approach that we kind of like coined for it. Mm-hmm. We were like, just do everything should just be like shamelessly like done, like in a way that like whatever you think is too much, just do it, and just kind of like, just don't it kind of like leave any kind of like preconception about stuff, like instead of I mean, it was just kind of like a fun way to think about it, but like let's like make it kind of like everything a little bit like nastier music wise.
Yeah, I was like trying to cut down on the like fun songs to ballad ratio to make it more fun songs than ballads than before, just personally. And I feel like that's the thing. We were also recording with Marta, and Jackson was playing bass. Right. And so having on all the other records, we jammed. I'd either be playing guitar or bass and imagining the other part. So we would never really have like the entire thing happening in real life, which would leave like, you can run into problems that way. So I feel like it's more streamlined. Believe it or not, when you have more people playing music together, they can do more things.
Yeah, you don't feel like you have to overcompensate, maybe write a little bit more, and then like...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we also like recorded live, actually. That was a big thing.
Oh, really?
A few of the songs, which we never had like any kind of available studio or like the member thing. Like we actually had enough people and we could actually go into a studio and record. That was like a cool thing to do.
Which songs were live?
I Feel Alive, Direct Sunlight...
Right.
Witching Hour, I want to say. Was it? No.
No. We even had a couple times.
I was like, oh, no. There was more, though.
Yeah, there were more. It was some of the first ones that we recorded for it, but I can't remember.
Looking to Remember.
Oh, yeah, that was one of them. Also, we tried to do Colder and Closer off the floor, but or we just recorded it there, but then changed so much about it later, so that doesn't count.
Was it live to a click, or just kind of really feeling it like that?
I feel like we were using a click.
Yeah, I imagine a click was there. We're not generally like that whole whatever the philosophy there is about not using a click. I feel like we don't really sync up with that so much. Just
totally.
We're pretty pro click generally.
One of the I guess every song has like some reference points, like, and you could tell me if I'm fucking way off, but like with I Feel Alive, I was getting like the Go-Betweens. Is that pretty close, or where are we with that song?
That's cool.
Do they do that song, the Go-Betweens? It's like
Streets of your town.
Your town. Yeah, I'd say that's definitely in the like kind of like power poppy jangly zone.
Totally.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I feel like definitely China Crisis was a big one.
Oh yeah.
Love just in general, maybe not so much for that song specifically, but like overall, like with production stuff.
Also, at the time, the
new
band,
music, yeah.
I was going crazy listening to that. I liked the straight feel of it.
Wait, I missed that. What band were you listening to at the time?
New Music with the K. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I love that, man. Those are the references I got from that one. I think I had another reference. Oh, someone asked on Instagram if people had questions, and people wanted to know basically your relationship with the Cocteau Twins. Was that an influence you guys wanted to bring in, tonality-wise or songwriting-wise, or do you listen to them at all? And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, they're really cool band, no?
Yeah.
I know that Riley really likes it. Sonically, very cool. I don't really I feel like the guitar in the band is like something I don't know how to achieve, because it's like this really atmospheric and like, it's like smarter than I am.
Yeah.
I'm a little more direct maybe, but I don't have.
It's like one of those bands where like when you first hear it, like the sound, even just in the first few seconds of hearing it, just like it's guaranteed to like blow your mind.
Right.
Just that anything sounds like that.
And
I'm really a big fan of like all the memes about like the words or like the live words.
Okay, are they fake words?
I don't know. I still don't know what she's saying. Elizabeth Fraser, I have no idea what she's saying in Heaven or Las Vegas. Like, it's just a vibe, I guess.
Yeah, the vibe is.
She's saying if I was green, I would die.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree, and I think something about the Cocteau Twins. Somebody wanted to ask about chorus pedals. I don't know if you want to share the secrets of your tone, David, but could you share a secret of your tone?
Yeah, I can give you a gear rundown.
Let's go.
It's pretty. It's gonna be pretty quick.
That's okay.
Tuner pedal. Chorus, just like any chorus will do.
Oh,
just with a little bit on it.
Yeah.
I also like the chorus on the Roland Jazz Chorus amp. I feel like the go-to setting on that is kind of dialed in if you want to sound like 100 other things.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes what you want. And then I just like to have a little, I don't know, it's like a distortion, but it just like turns it louder without changing the tone.
Right.
That's about it.
Nice. Like a clean boost, or it has like a little dirt on there?
Clean boost.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then a fuzz thing, if you want to shred. But honestly, I wish I could make my guitar sound better. I don't know how. I also don't want to carry a bunch of crap around.
Oh yeah.
And so
I hate the idea of a pedal board. Like, I just don't want like a massive board with a bunch of pedals. Like, that freaks me out.
It's scary.
Yeah. I love it. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm just looking through all these random questions I got on Instagram. The Tropical Beauty studio sessions. Those are great. Yeah. Like, they sound, I thought it was the record. I didn't realize it was live. Like, was that the same studio you recorded in, or?
No.
Recorded at Hotel Two Tango in Montreal. Maybe somewhere else. But do you want to talk about the studio sessions, Shane? At
Sure.
Tropico?
I mean, yeah, like, so Tropico is in like, Tropico is like a little like micro neighborhood inside Glendale, which I guess is like an area in LA.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, like I had this concept thing, there's an idea in my head about like doing kind of like a live thing where we'd do like videos, because I wanted to have more music videos, but I feel like sometimes
Right.
they can kind of get away from the point of like us being a band. And I kind of wanted to just do something very direct and be like, hey, like we're a band and this is actually pretty much just what we do, is like we play instruments together in a room. So then the director, Laurelyn, was living at this house that Riley used to live at, that we all used to kind of live at in Glendale, and she found the studio because it's close by. And then Phil, that runs the studio, ended up being like a pal, and also just like a really, really talented engineer. So yeah, like I was hoping that the live recordings were good, but it was the product of the like of the whole thing being so strong, like as a recording was actually like really cool thing, because that was the main concept was like to like do a video, but then yeah, it ended up sounding really cool. But yeah, so that was like a discovery. I feel like we want to work with Phil again now. He's been actually recording Riley's drum tracks and stuff.
All the new songs that we're working on, Riley recorded there.
Cool.
And also, Phil had this really cool guitar I want to play again. It was like a weird 80s guitar that's made out of plastic, and it's so sick.
That's crazy.
I want it.
That's wild. And how's it feel? Did it change the tone at all of it being made out of plastic?
It's really chunky sounding. That's all I remember from the whole thing. That's just that I like that guitar.
And like, you know, this is such a weird year last year where like if you didn't see Tops live, this was your chance to see Tops live, and you can go back and rewatch the video. And yeah, I think this was a great year to put out something like that.
Yeah, it was funny how I had this like, I was like, it'll be so different. It's like this new idea that I had. And then of course, like it ends up just being the like way that everybody is doing everything. And like kind of lucky that we even had it before we got separated from Riley. But yeah. I also discovered this like mic, the Sennheiser, the 441. I used it because it looks really cool. And like, I knew that I liked using it, but it definitely like cemented my love of that mic.
Nice. Are you using that mic now to do your new demos and songs?
Yeah, I actually got one because I'm doing all of the like vocals for our new songs here in my like living room studio, and it's really directional. Because like with the SM7 or like a condenser mic, it can be kind of like difficult. They pick up the room.
Right.
So it's nice to have something that's like just recording the singing part. No one ever has to know your secret of the fact that your room sounds really bad that you're using.
Right. Yeah, totally. So would you guys consider these new batch of songs like demos and then you're going to go into a studio together, or are we tracking what is the actual record?
Yeah, we're just doing it.
We're just doing it. There's no plan.
Okay.
We're just making them. They're if they end up being really good, they'll come out.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this plural thing might turn into like one song.
And that's, yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's, conceptually, at least we'll have something to talk about, like when we release them. This funny that Riley was, that's like I think it's kind of a funny thing to just like release recordings that we never played together.
Right.
So I'm pretty committed to pushing these through to completion, regardless of how they sound.
Totally. Yeah, I think there's always like you have the song, and then you guys practice song, you play, and then the song changes like on each step of the way. you know, you practice it and then you play it live and then you tour it, it kind of changes again, and then you record it and it changes one more time. Like, but now it's like skipping all that and it's just is what it is. I think that's a scary feeling for me. I don't know, where are you guys with that?
Definitely like doing the drum comments, like trying to speak about like very detailed drum patterns and stuff remotely. It was like, yeah, we'd have to all get together to talk about it because like, yeah, quite of a crazy way to work. But Riley like somehow understood a lot of like the comments and would just like send us back stuff like really quickly. But yeah, I definitely don't recommend it as like an ideal way of doing stuff. But yeah, I do always feel like I guess that's also something that's kind of like cool about the Tropico sessions is like, it's kind of this truth or something that like the time that you're the most able to make a recording, or the time that the recording of your band will sound the best, is like after the song is already out and you've toured it and played it.
Totally. And I think you guys there's 2 songs in that session. Are there more songs from that session, more videos coming out, or was that it?
Probably the third one, but I feel like it wasn't as good as the other ones.
Oh, okay.
We're a 2 out of 3 band, you know?
Yeah, we're notoriously just doing a lot of work and fully completing things and then just not releasing them.
But that's fine. Do you guys feel, does that tie in with like, do you guys think about legacy at all, or what you're doing with your band? Is that something you guys even think about, or is it just?
I think like as a concept, it's really cool that you can make a song and then it kind of like exists outside of you, potentially for a very, very long time. But besides the kind of like a whoa, like that's crazy. Like I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like
there's a nice sorry to interrupt.
No, please.
There's a nice like kind of like personal like diary kind of feeling to it, where you can look back at a song you put out a bunch of years ago and you're like, I was super immature and bad at making music. That's what you'll think. But also it's like that's where I was in my life. It's kind of like a photograph or something. But you just have the same thing with other people's music too.
Right.
It's also definitely cool to be like at a point in your like career, besides like, I feel like the negative thing about making a bunch of music or having made a bunch of music is that you like can sometimes feel like you shouldn't use certain words, or like like lyrics wise, you can be like, oh no, I already did that. But like something that I really like about having kind of like a bit of like a body of work is that it just like unlocks more doors of like being like, oh, well now I get to do this. And like you can, the more you have, the more you like realize what you haven't like already kind of done. And you can kind of like explore like other things and like keep filling it in. Right. I think that's like a really
it's like a fun challenge in itself. Like, oh, we haven't written a song like this yet. Maybe we should try that. And then that becomes like a fun exercise. And maybe it doesn't lead to something. Maybe it does. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's just like freeing to realize that like you no longer are trying to like create some kind of like epitome level work that I think you can still try to make your best work, but that you don't have to like, like I think first records can sometimes be like challenging in this way where you feel like you're really defining everything, or like just putting so much weight into it. When you get after making music for a long time, it just like can be only fun and just like always just like, yeah, like broadening it. Like I feel like that's with like David's solo stuff. You can definitely hear like, or at least I feel like I can hear like that he's just like doing a bunch of stuff that he can't do through Tops. That's just like fun. Mm-hmm. Is that?
Yeah, that's true. I can't do that with Tops. I guess what we're saying is like, the more you know, the more you don't know shit type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
What was I going to say? But I also, on the other hand, I'm like, when I'm approaching writing a song, I'm like, I'm like, there's this imaginary song out there, and I feel like I'm always trying to write like the imaginary perfect song. And every time I'm like just going for that one. I'm like, in my mind, it's the same goal every time.
Right.
I'm like, I just want to make that one good song. And every song is just like, 30% there, 70% there. I don't know.
Is there, do you have a song in your head that's like a standard, like, oh, I'd love to write a song like that? Like, well, not necessarily the same chords or anything, but that feeling. Ooh, I'd love to get the feeling.
It's like a feeling that I'm like every time I'm like, I just want that.
Yeah.
And I know I'll never get it. But it's
right.
It's like a legacy is just a series of attempts.
Totally.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's a bar. There you go.
That's really well done.
Thank you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, I feel that way with a bunch of different songs. Like This Must Be the Place. Like I could never write a song like that by the Talking Heads, but it has such a feeling and an uplifting vibe that I'm like, oh, how can I get a song that feels like that feeling that I get when I listen to that song?
I feel like it's like the law of averages. It's like the more attempts you take at the pinata, the more likely you are to get a sweet bonbon. And
yeah, totally. The more candy falls out. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I love it. Lyrics, I think, well, when you look back on your first record, you're kind of saying that, like, what do you think about when you think of your first record? Can you listen to it? Do you guys still play songs off that record when you play live, or it's been a while?
No, we don't play any of them anymore. But I mean, I would. The thing I like about that record is I remember the way we rehearsed it. We practiced so much, and then we recorded the songs as is, and it was like the first time I really got into like detailed arrangements with people, and I think it with other people, and I think it paid off. It was really fun. And we had like, there was like, we were really set on like just like this kind of like minimalist thing with like no overdubs pretty much. I mean, we multi-tracked it, but like we multi-tracked basically what we played in the rehearsal space. And I feel like I like that about it. It sounds pretty funny too. As like
it sounds pretty.
Choices.
It's crazy. It's crazy to like go back and listen to them all in order, because that's why I did this like last week, was like listen to them all in order from start to finish, from like each record to each record, and see how you guys progress. Like Jane, I feel like your vocals have changed a lot too. Like, do you feel like you've taken a different approach from singing throughout this whole time, or?
I mean, I do. I guess like I've had different times of like pushing my voice. Like I know there's the song "Go Away" from that first record where I'm really like gunning for it.
Totally.
But I feel like honestly, it's just you just hear me like learning how to sing, or like deciding how to sing. Like I don't. I think my approach, like I've been chasing something very similar for a lot of the time. But then like just developing a lot, because like never having any kind of lessons or anything, just like that I naturally like evolve in that way. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that can be kind of difficult to listen to like early recordings, that aspect of like the vocal thing. Like it definitely took me a while to get like some space.
Right.
Where I could appreciate like, no, it's just how I sounded. It's chill. But now like, I feel like I Feel Alive, like that whole album, when I listen to it, I definitely like, there's no cringe factor. Which I don't know if that's just like a personal thing, I guess. But yeah, like, and now when I listen to, we had like some demos that we were going back to recently, and I was like, man, I really like, that's so cool that I was singing like that. Like you don't even realize what you knew when before.
That first record was cool though, because it was like we were super like learning in front of people is how I would describe it.
There's definitely some ideas that we had. Like I remember being really into like long songs and be like, oh, like verse, chorus, bridge, like fuck that. Like we're like artists,
Right.
And like that kind of, I feel like we really I would like to think that we've evolved past like that kind of thing of like, or like at least me personally, like I definitely thought at that time, like the weirder it is that's like a sign of quality or something.
Right.
And now I'm just like want everything to be like poppy and like hit really hard and like, yeah.
I think you guys succeeded with I Feel Alive, man. Like, you know how that band in Germany heard you in Starbucks? I heard you at Target. And I was like, what fucking song is this? And I was just like Shazamming it. And like, I didn't want anyone to see me Shazam it. I was like, this is insane. Like, and I was like,
every time I Shazam, it's the 1975. I'm like, fuck.
I know. And, you know, yeah, because my drummer is such a big fan of yours. And I was like, oh, man, I guess I got to listen to this new album now. Like, yeah, so it's working. The outreach is working, you know. People are finding you Starbucks, Target. I love it.
I get like lots of Chipotle DMs, Chipotle related DMs.
Yeah, that's a good place too.
You just have a type of friend, Jane, that like.
I have a profile of like.
Chipotle users. Yeah, the Chipotle user base. Okay, well then.
I get all these people hearing my song at the Ritz, you know? So.
Yeah, there you go. We've been going for a while. I did want to ask one more question about Turn Your Love Around. At first, I thought it was a cover of George Benson, but then I saw that music video. Can you talk about that music? I love that music video. Any stories about that or how they came about to work with the deaf students? Dance students?
That was actually fully the brainchild of this person, Graham Foy, who actually ended up like being a pretty big part of our whole like visual thing. But we hadn't met at that point. He got introduced to me through our friend Jasper, who did a bunch of like videos and stuff, a lot of like the kind of VHS-y videos for our first record. Right. And he just didn't want to do another video for us. So he's like, Graham's a filmmaker, get him to do one. And his mom actually was working or had worked at like a school for deaf kids. And so he knew about these kind of like vibrational listening rooms. And he just basically presented us with the idea. And it's like the only video that we've ever done where like we just spoke with the director and then they kind of like did it and was like, how about this? What do you think? So worked out really good. And yeah, I think it's a really cool concept, fully not ours in any way, fully attributable to Graham. But then, yeah, he ended up doing like our video for Outside and Way to Be Loved, and yeah, great guy.
Those videos are always so great because, you know, I don't know how you guys feel about making music videos. You guys have a lot of music videos, which is awesome, but like I feel like sometimes making a video can be such a long day. And maybe that points to how I can't be an actor because there's no way I could just stand on a set for like 8 to 10 hours. And like, I don't know. How do you feel about music videos? Do you like the hang of just like of a music video day?
Yeah, I just don't know how people made movies before like they had Angry Birds on their phone. But
right.
I'm like sound so old. That game's really old. But Jane is more involved with the music videos, so being the singer.
I really like directing, like when I get to like direct or like help conceptualize them, and like I really love making them. I know what you mean, it's super tiring and crazy. Less of a fan of actually being in them. I feel like that's really like my favorite part of it. Yeah. But like, yeah, I think it's been really fun. And like, I guess I kind of, for me, like I see stuff visually as well as like, it's just been kind of cool that I've been able to like kind of run free with that whole part of it. But I know what you mean. Like over time, it does kind of, I feel like there's kind of like a pressure nowadays where it's like every song that gets put out, if you want it to be taken seriously, like it should be like a music video coming out like the day it's released. And if you have a great idea, then it's really fun and you can just go ahead and do it. But if you don't, then it can be kind of like, oh man, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
I agree.
I also really like super bad music videos too.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I love when a video is really poorly done. That's cool.
What's
It's an
a video
excellent
you
approach.
what's a video you can think of that's like, oh, I love it because it's so weird?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of one too. Yeah, I can't think of one.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to out anybody as having a bad video.
Yeah. Totally.
Definitely, like, I feel like we've taken every approach to doing it as possible, and it's like a kind of like a lesson that I've learned is like, we'll make a video like for Change of Heart or for Topless, where we just have like a DV cam and we're just like grabbing footage and then throwing something together. It costs like $0.
Yeah.
And then you'll do something else where you're like writing all these grants and like getting everybody like filming on film, and like you have like all your friends coming down to be in it and stuff, and like the results can be like quite similar. Also in terms of like whether it's like plays or like the actual like how happy you are with it. Like
Totally.
there's no, I think it's a good lesson, because it just means that there's like no real need to go too crazy with it.
Or just to think that you can't do something because you don't either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those visual collages are just as great. Like at the end of the day, like I love music videos, but like it's just supposed to complement the music and it's something to look at while you're listening, and yeah, those visual collage videos are awesome. And I think, I'm sorry to go back on this, so I was thinking of like, do you guys know that Dolce Vita song by Ryan Paris?
No,
It's like a weird Italo disco song, but that's like a weird video that I wouldn't consider good, but it's cool and I like it. It's a weird. That's the example I could think of.
Is he like walking down Times Square?
I think he's in Italy. I think he's in Rome or somewhere.
He's in
But
Italy. Okay, that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. It's pretty nuts. Yeah.
I was gonna try to look it up, but then
I've seen this video. So sweet.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's not like what you consider good. But
Yeah,
it's
not good. It's great. It looks good though. That's sweet.
Cool. Yeah, we could wrap it up. I just wanted to say thank you to both of you for doing this. Like, this is awesome. And what's the best way for people to support Tops in this moment?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
just listen to the tunes, I guess. Listen to our music, and if you want to.
No
and
pressure.
if you do want to enjoy it in a physical format, then you can buy stuff off our store. We have t-shirts and records and stuff.
Cool.
Shipping is slightly delayed due to the coronavirus.
Yes. I can't find it. I can't find anyone just like arguing about shipping right now. But it does happen. It does happen. But it's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious why. Like why things aren't going well. The shipping wise. Well, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy your record. I'm done listening to it on Spotify. I want to enjoy it in a physical world. And yeah, thank you guys so much for doing this.
Yeah, it's fun to share Mondays with you.
Yes, it's a good way to start the week.